The story begins with Yukaheim as she walks towards the school where she teaches, observed by a group of boys led by a loudmouth student Tota. They jump to attack Yukaheim, but she has a barrier around her that is stronger than Russia's borders. When their ambush fails spectacularly, Yukaheim nonchalantly punches them all, knocking them into a river. Later in class, the beautiful Yukaheim punishes the boys and repeats the long-standing rule. They can go to the capital only if they can defeat her. Tota scolds his lusty teacher for bossing them around and demands to know about the barrier she used earlier. His friends foolishly support him, but the rest of the class, sensing deep trouble, clears a large space in the middle of the room. Meanwhile, Yukaheim walks through the path cleared by her wise students and delivers a single punch that sends the foolish boys flying straight through the classroom window. Later, her colleague, a gentle-looking four-eyed teacher named Tachibana, gently scolds her for handling the boys like animals. He tries to defend a student's desire to go to the capital, but Yukaheim does not give a crap. However, the four-eyed teacher persists until Yukaheim's juggernaut marshmallows finally agree to think about it. As Tota and his goons walk home, they complain about Yukaheim's magical breast barrier. Tota tells his friends they just need to practice more so they can finally beat their teacher and go to the capital to climb the massive tower that stretches into the heavens. The boys all pledge to climb the tower, but Tota takes his leave and goes to the graveside of his family. 2 years ago, Tota was in an accident that took the lives of his parents, while his grandfather, Nagi Springfield, had also died a while back. The accident made him an orphan, but Tota is strangely happy about it as it allowed him to meet Yukaheim, who is now his guardian. Tota had rejected Yukaheim at first, even though she had the juiciest body in Japan, but their dynamic changed when Yukaheim proved to be a complete disaster in the kitchen, and Tota had to take over the kitchen duty. That simple act brought them together. As Tota finishes his ritual in the graveyard, he sees a shadowy figure of a four-eyed young man. The ghost then changes to an older version of himself, telling Tota that it awaits him at the top of the tower before disappearing completely. The stupid kid has no idea what the freak just happened in this graveyard. That night, Tota asks Yukaheim to teach him magic, but she ignores him. Furious, he starts practicing magic all by himself but ends up looking like a total dork. The next day, she beats the boys again, crushing their hopes of going to the capital. As they whine like little kids, Yukaheim's colleague, Tachibana, appears and offers to help them. He gives the boys a magic wand that allows them to use a bit of magic and asks them to hide it from Yukaheim. However, the magic wand does not listen to Tota, so Tachibana gives him a special wristband instead. That night, as Tota thinks about the band, Yukaheim enters the room, causing him to panic. When she asks about the wristband, Tota tells her that he got it as a gift for her and runs away in shame. The next day, as Yukaheim is on her way back home, she admires the gift she got from her idiot stepbrother. Suddenly, Tota's friends appear on the scene using teleportation magic. Meanwhile, Tota senses something wrong and runs to her location. The boys use a vine to imprison Yukaheim, hoping to defeat her thick behind. This time, however, Tachibana joins them and praises them for their effort. Then he attacks the boys, knocking them all down in a few seconds. Tachibana then brings out several weapons to attack Yukaheim, who attempts a counterattack, but because of the band on her wrist, her magic does not work. She gets pierced with metal rods and stays frozen in shock. It turns out that Tachibana is a bounty hunter who wants to unalive Yukaheim for the $600 million bounty prize. Just then, he brings out a sword to finish her off, but before he can attack, Tota appears and engages in a brutal fight with him. Tachibana uses teleportation to appear beside Tota and cuts off his arm like a sausage. As the boy lies down helpless, he tries to cut off Tota's head, but Yukaheim appears and blocks the strike with her hands. She praises Tota for his attack and thanks him for the gift. However, Tachibana is feeling sexy tonight, so he chops Yukaheim into small pieces like a birthday cake. Tota screams in shock, but the bounty hunter quickly stabs him in the back as the boy drifts into unconsciousness. Yukaheim scolds him for trying to give up. She explains that she had made him immortal 2 years ago, and that he can either die as a human with regret or wake up as an immortal monster and save his friends. Yukaheim then tells him to drink her blood since there are no other options. Tota licks her blood from the ground like a total Reddit freak. On the other hand, Tachibana is about to unalive the boys, but just then Tota throws his chopped up arm at him. He yells at the bounty hunter and runs towards him, but Tachibana blocks the attack and chops off Tota's second arm. He laughs like a maniac, only to see that Tota is growing his arm back. The boy once again rushes towards him and delivers a gut punch that knocks him out cold before collapsing from exhaustion. Tota wakes up and finds himself in Yukaheim's lap. She has reverted to her original voluptuous body and explains to the idiot that he can no longer die. She tells the boy that she is a 700-year-old vampire and explains how his parents had begged her to save Tota after their accident, so she turned him into a vampire. Yukaheim scolds herself for making this kid immortal, but Tota thinks it is a good thing to live forever. The next day, Tota's friends wish him farewell as he leaves the village with Yukaheim, They get upset because they cannot sniff Yukiheim's socks from now on. With this, the two head toward the capital, determined to slay any demons along the way. As these two immortal idiots travel to the capital on foot, Toda is still confused from his recent power-up. As they chat, Yukiheim explains that the world population has dropped significantly and large parts of the country are now uninhabitable. Toda, whose interest in world history is close to zero, is more concerned with the fact that they are walking instead of taking a bus. Yukiheim explains that she is a known target with a bounty on her head, so public transport is a death trap crawling with potential hunters. Despite this haunting information, Toda dreams of all the new friends he is going to make once they reach the city. However, Yukiheim hits him with another hard truth. Since he is an immortal being frozen in time, he will forever be a 14-year-old boy. The friends he will make will grow old, have families, and eventually die while he remains unchanged. Even then, this idiot goes to take a bath in a nearby river, and the weight of Yukiheim's words finally starts to sink in. He floats on his back, realizing that his old friends from the village are already on a different path, and that his ding-dong will remain the same size as well. However, Toda's deep thoughts are abruptly interrupted when his head bumps into the soft buttocks of a girl bathing in a river. Being a master of social interaction, Toda does not apologize, but instead blurts out a creepy compliment about her treasures. This pisses off the stranger so badly that she whips around and pulls out a sword, ready to lop his head off. Toda jumps back, finally getting a look at his attacker and noticing it is a pretty little broad. The stranger smashes Toda's mouth with the flat of her sword before he can utter another word. After they are both dressed, the stranger introduces herself as Kuromaru, and Toda realizes he was mistaken. This delicate-looking sword wielder is actually a boy from Thailand. Later, Toda introduces himself and explains his goal of reaching the tower. Kuromaru's interest is immediately piqued as he reveals he just came from there. Hearing this, Toda gets overjoyed and asks the lady boy how to reach the tower. However, Kuromaru explains that he has been kicked out of his super-rich family for being a weak vegetable, so to get back home, he must live a notorious vampire known as the Dark Evangel. As Kuromaru describes this 700-year-old menace, Toda feels a growing sense of dread. Just then, Kuromaru notices that Toda does not have a reflection in the glass, and right on cue, Yukiheim joins them with her knocker bongs. Kuromaru attacks Yukiheim without a second hesitation, but she stops his sword with a single finger, teasing him for being part of a family of monster hunters. The air is filled with an awkward silence, and Toda tries to calm the situation. However, Kuromaru declares that his family must hunt monsters like her, and prepares to use a powerful technique. Unfortunately, Yukiheim stabs him clean through the chest with her bare hand like a chicken breast. Toda is horrified, thinking she has just lived his potential new friend, but to his shock, Kuromaru's wound heals instantly. Both idiotic immortals are stunned to see this, as this kid is an immortal like them. Toda tries to check on him, but as he gets close, Kuromaru wakes up and punches him. He once again challenges Yukiheim to a duel, but this lusty blonde tells the ladyboy to defeat Toda first if he wishes to face her. Kuromaru agrees to the challenge, and Toda, seeing the pain of rejection in his new rival's eyes, accepts the fight as well. Immediately, Kuromaru attacks with blinding speed, but Toda dodges every strike. Then Toda adds one condition: the winner gets to make the loser do whatever they want. As the two engage in an intense brawl, they both land impressive hits and earn a nod from Yukiheim. The battle reaches its climax when Kuromaru suddenly cuts off Toda's head, thinking the fight is over, but Toda grabs his own head out of the air, sticks it back on his neck, and then punches a completely surprised Kuromaru into the ground, winning the fight. Fearing that he had eliminated this ladyboy, Toda rushes over, but the naive fool eventually wakes up with a broken heart. He worries that Toda will demand something perverted from him, but Toda only asks him to be his friend. Later, the new trio heads to a hot spring. Toda tries to get Kuromaru to lighten up, but the boy is still moping, ashamed of his defeat. In a stroke of genius, Toda decides the best way to bond is to go peek at Yukiheim in the women's bath. He points to a high cliff overlooking the springs, and though Kuromaru is not interested, Toda climbs it alone. At the top, he jumps into the bath but does not see the lusty big melon blondie. Instead, he sees a young, petite girl and wonders who she is. But when she transforms back into the mature body that Toda recognizes, he understands the little girl is actually Yukiheim's true form. Toda immediately teases her for her small body, while Kuromaru fears for his life down below. Just then, Yukiheim attacks him again, knocking Toda off the cliff. Kuromaru sees this and rushes to the rescue. He manages to grab Toda's hand and tells his new friend to throw him back up. Kuromaru slingshots him through the air, and the idiot uses the opportunity to snatch Yukiheim's towel right off her body. The naked Yukiheim is proud of him and offers to show him her gigantic knocker boots, but Toda claims that he is not interested in cow milk. As expected, he is mercilessly punished, while Kuromaru finally breaks into laughter. Toda is happy to see his new friend has finally accepted them, and Yukiheim promises to train Kuromaru so he can one day challenge her properly. As the three of them head back to the city, Toda, Now with another immortal by his side, wonders if there are others like them out there. He gets a grand idea. They should gather all the immortals and form a team of superheroes. Kuramaru is shocked by the notion, while Yukaheim just teases him for his childish dream, mentioning that someone else gave her a similar idea a long time ago. Just then, a convoy of sleek black cars drives up, and one of them knocks the disgusting idiot away. A girl in a school uniform steps out of one of the cars and greets Yukaheim with reverence. A whole squad of men in black emerges, rolling out a red carpet for their mistress. Toda is completely shocked. It turns out Yukaheim is the boss of some kind of Yakuza-like organization. The schoolgirl, whose name is Karen, gets angry at Toda for being a disgusting second-hand immortal. She clearly wants to kill him, but Yukaheim calmly tells her to control her hormones. As Yukaheim heads to her car, she turns to Toda and tells him that his dream of creating an organization of immortals is already a reality known as the UQ Holder. The group of immortal vampires travels on a sleek yacht on their way to the organization's secret base. Toda's energy is through the roof as he cannot wait to get his ding-dong sucked by vampire chicks. Kuramaru is more reserved, still processing the slew of events that led him into this madness. Meanwhile, Yukaheim has a quiet talk with one of her top subordinates, Karen. It turns out that Karen is highly skeptical of the new recruit, making no effort to hide her disdain for the guy, and questioning Yukaheim why she would bring such a childish, disrespectful idiot into their ranks. But Yukaheim calmly explains the situation. She tells Karen that both she and Toda are likely the most powerful members of their entire group, and when the end of the world eventually comes knocking, the two of them might be the only ones left standing. Therefore, learning to get along with Toda is a necessity. Once they arrive at the massive island base, Toda and Kuramaru are greeted by a surreal sight. The place is a high-tech paradise. Men in black suits greet Yukaheim with a reverence usually reserved for a goddess. The two boys marvel at this scene and wonder what the freak is going on. Two other members, a man in a butcher's apron and glasses named Jingoro and another stupid-looking member named Iku, show them around and explain the basics. They let them know that UQ Holder is made up of all kinds of immortals, magical beings, cyborgs, monsters, and everything in between. Naturally, the boys are eager to join this bizarre family of misfits. But of course, things are not that simple. Before they can officially become members, they have to pass a test. The trial is straightforward. Each of them has to land at least one hit on their assigned opponent within 7 days. Karen immediately volunteers to fight Toda, clearly eager to teach the little brat a lesson. On the other hand, Jingoro agrees to face Kuramaru. Toda immediately lunges at Karen for an attack, but she easily deflects him and smashes his dumb head with her massive hammer as he lies down like a paid escort in a Vegas hotel room. Seeing this, Kuramaru hesitates to engage in a fight. However, when he eventually charges at Jingoro with his sword, he fails to land a single blow. Later, the two of them sit down to wind down, feeling exhausted and frustrated. They wonder how they are supposed to land a hit on opponents who are clearly in a different league. That is when they spot a servant girl named Shinobu struggling with some trash bags. After she trips, the two rush over to help her. Shinobu explains that she is just a regular human working at the headquarters. Seeing a chance to clear their minds, Toda and Kuramaru offer to help her with her chores. While carrying some boxes to a storage area, Toda suddenly hears a mysterious voice guiding him. He follows it down a long staircase that leads to a massive hidden cave with a strange building inside. He heads toward it with Kuramaru, where they meet a sloppy, red-haired guy who looks more drunk than Rock Lee. It turns out that this drunk dude is Jinbei, UQ Holder's second most powerful member after Yukaheim herself. Jinbei points them toward a massive sword stuck in a giant stone cube and asks Toda to pull it out. At first, the idiot refuses, claiming it is a little less US, but Jinbei mocks him, saying a real man needs a weapon to look cool. Hearing this, Toda gives it a try and quickly realizes the thing is impossible to budge. As Jinbei starts explaining the sword's history, Toda hears the same mysterious voice again, telling him to turn a switch on the sword. As soon as he does it, the sword slides out of the stone with almost no effort. Jinbei is shocked by this, but the real surprise comes when the sword itself starts talking, introducing itself as Karabo and declaring that it has chosen Toda as its new partner. Jinbei, who clearly expected this, explains that the sword allows its wielder to control its weight, making it an incredibly deadly weapon. He demonstrates by returning it to Toda, promptly drops it when its weight crushes his hand, leaving a giant hole in the floor. Jinbei tells them that if they want to pass their test, they will need to train hard right there. The next 7 days are a blur of intense training and menial labor. Toda and Kuramaru spend their days in the dungeon, sharpening their skills and using their free time helping Shinobu with her chores around the inn. Jinbei occasionally updates Yukaheim about her new recruits, who does not seem to be impressed at all. When the final day of the trial arrives, they emerge from the dungeon, ready for their rematch. The fight begins with Kuramaru versus Jingoro. He compliments Kuramaru's improvement but notes that his attacks are still too predictable. The fight is one-sided, with Jingoro effortlessly dodging and blocking every move. Things look rough until Kuramaru, remembering Toda's reckless fighting style, comes up with a desperate plan. He intentionally leaves his arm open for an attack. Jingoro cuts it clean off, but Kuromaru uses his severed arm to grab another sword and stab Jingoro from behind. It works flawlessly. He has landed a hit and officially passed trial. On the other side of the base, Toda is clashing with Karen. Armed with Karabo, he is a much bigger threat now. He uses some insanely stupid anime-style attacks and manages to keep the blue-haired chick at bay. As they continue to fight, Toda finally manages to use the sword's weight manipulation to make her stumble. He's about to land the finishing blow when he hears Shinobu screaming nearby. It turns out that Shinobu is being attacked by a group of giant monsters that have appeared out of nowhere. Just as Toda is about to rescue this little servant chick, Karen stops him, telling him to wait for the right moment. She heroically distracts the monsters and directs them away from Shinobu. Meanwhile, Toda gets the servant chick to safety, where Kuromaru and Jingoro appear. Toda jumps back into the fight. He dials up his sword's weight, then slams into the monsters, wiping them all out on impact. Just then, Yukaheim appears with her cartons of milk jugs and congratulates both him and Karen. She mentions that the trial time has already run out, and Toda begins pleading for 5 more minutes to finish his fight. The offer is quickly refused, but since he fought heroically against the monsters, Toda has officially passed the test. With the trial done, Yukaheim reveals that the monsters likely escaped from the lower part of the facility through a hole they made. She then gives the 2 inexperienced kids their first official mission: head down into the dungeon and take out the rest of the monsters that escaped. Yukaheim opens a hole in the ground and sends the 2 of them plunging into the darkness below, where they come face to face with the horrors awaiting them. The next day, Yukaheim's giant juggernaut calls Toda and Kuromaru to her office and gives them their first real-world mission, which is supposed to be an easy assignment meant for beginners. The boys must assist Karen to a human city and protect an orphanage in the slums. Initially, Karen refuses the mission, but hoping to get some milk carton tips from Yukaheim, she agrees to accept it. Naturally, Toda assumes that this easy assignment means he will get to relax in a car. Later, as he prepares for the mission, he proudly tells the servant girl, Shinobu, that he will split her legs when he is back from the slums. Toda's prediction is dead wrong, as moments later, Karen makes them run the entire way on foot. As the boys complain about their stamina, Karen explains the grim reality of their world. Behind the glittering high-tech facade of the capital lies a massive shadow of poverty. The slums are filled with people who have been left behind, and worse, there are wealthy factions who want to exterminate these people and wipe the poor off the map. Karen explains that this is the true purpose of UQ Holder, not just a club for immortals, but a force that protects the downtrodden from the corrupt and powerful. Toda tries to praise Karen for her efforts, but she quickly smashes his head for being an ugly son of a peach. As they run through the woods, Karen explains that the real danger is down the cliff, so Toda heroically jumps down below, only managing to scare the poor kids in the orphanage while the men in black collapse due to Toda's impact. After that brilliant start, the team decides to use arm wrestling to determine who does the chores. Toda, being the loser he is, loses every single match and is promptly put on cooking duty. Pissed off but resigned to his fate, he prepares a meal for everyone, and to their shock, it tastes incredible. Everyone is impressed with his cooking skills, and even Karen has to admit the kid has talent. At that point, everyone wants him to cook the meals for them, making Toda incredibly angry. Karen smiles at this, but tells Toda to learn a move called Flash Step to win at arm wrestling. Later, the nun running the place has a serious talk with Karen and Kuromaru, explaining that a group of local thugs keeps showing up at night, threatening to kick them out of their home. Hearing about the daily struggle and fear these people live with, Kuromaru is convinced that this is the right path, strengthening his resolve to help them. Meanwhile, Toda heads to a large open space to begin his training, which mostly consists of him running around like a headless chicken until he wakes up a jacked up, soldier-looking guy who is pissed about the comedy show Toda is putting on and suddenly attacks him. He tells the idiot that his form is all wrong and proceeds to demonstrate what a true flash step looks like. While Toda gets furious at him, the man introduces himself as Kaido, demonstrating his abilities by moving so fast it looks like he vanishes. Kaido mentions that he is a wandering martial artist but is surprised to hear Toda has just started practicing because it took him 10 years to master the technique. Kaido shows Toda a diagram explaining how footwork and flexibility are the keys to victory, but the idiot does not understand. Intrigued by his potential, Kaido promises to make him his student. That night, Toda begins his bizarre training regimen by cooking and eating with his feet. All the girls in the orphanage laugh at this dedication, while the men in black eat. During training, Kaido tells the boy that he must make his legs even stronger, so Toda starts doing all his chores using only his feet. His dedication even inspires a little slum kid named Rucky to start practicing with him. Meanwhile, Kaido meets up with his 2 sketchy colleagues, his blind boss, Nagumo, and a perverted-looking man named Chao. After transforming into a full-on werewolf, it is clear they are a team of immortal hunters sent to exterminate the slums. Their attack is swift and brutal. The UQ Holder guards are exterminated by grotesque-looking puppets. At the same time, Karen is taking a bath, and the nun standing guard outside is giving her company as the two talk. Just then, a portal opens on the ground and Chow ambushes her, but she immediately blocks the attack using a barrier. Chow teases her, impressed that she did not fall for his sneak attack. The two engage in a heated battle, and soon he slashes at Karen's neck, but her skin refuses to be sliced. While the girl stands confused, Chow begins to tell a story. Many years ago, witch hunters tried to burn a little girl, but she would not die no matter what. She felt the pain but never bled, and they called her the Steel Saint. One day, another girl appeared and took her away. As he twists his dagger inside Karen's body, Chow reveals he knows the truth. She is that saint. He mocks her immortality, calling it a curse, as he uses his shadow magic to bind her body, immobilizing her and stabbing her repeatedly, all while taunting her for being someone who can feel pain but never receive the release of death. Back outside, Toda is with Rucky. When they see the fires, they are attacked by the puppets, but Kuramaru arrives just in time. As they wonder what to do, Kaido appears in his werewolf form with Nagumo behind him. Kaido teases Toda for being an immortal vampire and then attacks, placing a magic seal on him that leaves him completely paralyzed. With Toda out of the fight, Kuramaru bravely prepares to face both of them. Nagumo and Kaido decide to attack him together. Kuramaru, knowing he needs to signal for help, unleashes a technique that sends a burst of fireworks into the sky. He manages to stay out of harm's way for a moment, but Kaido gets in close and kicks him, distracting him long enough for Nagumo to cut off his hand. In a stunning counter, Kuramaru manages to cut off Kaido's hand too, before retreating. Both immortals reattach their limbs as if nothing had happened. Kaido teases Kuramaru and prepares to end the fight using a perfected flash step, which Kuramaru does not even see coming. Kaido begins pounding into him and then cuts him clean in half with a powerful kick. With this, Kuramaru's bisected body lands in front of the helpless Toda. As if that was not enough, Kaido grabs two large metal signs and uses them to pin Kuramaru's still living halves to the ground, leaving him utterly defeated. The situation is looking grim. Toda is paralyzed by a magic seal, and Kuramaru has been sliced in half and pinned to the ground just as the werewolf Kaido is about to deliver a finishing blow with an ice spell. The little slum kid Rucky, who apparently has more guts than brains, jumps in front of a horrified Kuramaru to protect him. Meanwhile, the pervert Chow is still having the time of his life bothering Karen. He reminds her of her past as the Steel Saint, a girl who could feel every ounce of pain but was cursed never to die or bleed. He twists his dagger inside her, ecstatic to be facing someone who can endure so much. Chow tells her that he is just here to stall her, enjoying every second of her suffering. To make it even creepier, he licks Karen's cheeks. Rucky dares the immortal hunters to come at him, screaming that he will stop them from destroying his home. However, Kaido stops his attack with a single finger and effortlessly grabs the kid. Rucky asks why they want to kill him, and the blind boss Nagumo calmly explains the cold, hard truth. They have been paid by the rich folks who live at the top of the tower. This is not personal malice, but just business. The land does not belong to the slum dwellers, and the mercenaries have been hired to do the dirty work. Having had enough, Kaido prepares to kill Rucky, but this is the final straw for Kuramaru. With a surge of sheer willpower, he pulls himself out from under the restraints and, even with his body still torn apart, throws himself forward, shielding Rucky from Kaido's impending strike. Just as all hope seems lost, Toda, who had been sprawled on the ground, is suddenly standing. The magic seal is gone, and his arms are now covered in a dark, ugly-looking gauntlet radiating a weird aura. He has somehow absorbed the seal, and even he has no idea how it happened. His enemies realize he is way more powerful than they thought and are impressed. Chow, still lost in his twisted monologue, suddenly finds himself on the receiving end of a divine beatdown. Having endured non-stop torture, Karen finally reveals the truth behind her immortality. It is not a curse, but a divine blessing of love. With no other option, she taps into one of her stronger forms. She rises into the air, surrounded by a blinding light that wipes out the surrounding shadows, then unleashes a holy fist followed by a storm of lightning-fast kicks and punches that send the pervert crashing to the ground. Meanwhile, Toda faces off against his former teacher. Kuramaru asks about his new look, but Toda only knows that it feels incredibly powerful. Kaido is a fight freak, and seeing Toda's new power-up only excites him more. Without wasting a second, Toda launches forward and knocks him flying with one hit. Kaido charges in next, but Toda uses his new powers to dodge, counter, and go blow for blow with the werewolf. Just then, Karen appears on the scene, ready to handle the stronger one named Nagumo. Seeing this, Kaido also takes this fight seriously and transforms back into his original form. Toda asks him why he is beating up children, and Kaido casually admits that he is a fighter. It does not matter who or why, as long as he gets to fight strong opponents. With that, they go at it again, both moving and striking at speeds most people would not even see. They are both masters of flash step now, and the whole fight looks unreal. After witnessing Toda's new strength, Kaido even offers to make him his real student, but Toda shuts it down immediately. In response, Kaido pulls out a powerful move, Blazing Piercing Judgment. He uses Flash Step to break the sound barrier, slamming into Toda's chest and ripping out his heart, which he crushes in his hand. Just as Kaido starts casting a sealing spell to end it for good, huge black wings explode from Toda's back. His body starts pulling the shattered pieces of his heart back together while unleashing a massive wave of dark energy. Nagumo explains to Karen that this is an incredibly powerful and rare magic called Me'araba, where the user risks the complete loss of their soul. Only 2 people in the world are known to have it: the Dark Evangel Yukaheim, who failed to master it, and her disciple May Springfield, who wielded its complete form. Nagumo fears that a 3rd user could shake the balance of the world. Now fully overtaken by the power, Toda lunges at Kaido with brutal, unrestrained strength. He throws him into a building, then rushes in with a barrage of attacks that makes even Nagumo afraid. He tries to go and save his friend, but Karen stops him with her sword. Just as Toda is about to land the finishing blow on Kaido, he suddenly hesitates, fighting to take control of himself. After a moment, the dark aura bursts away from him, leaving him badly wounded and drained. Kaido, beaten down by the onslaught, heals from his werewolf wounds and admits defeat, asking Toda to kill him, but Toda refuses to accept the win, saying it was not really him fighting. So, they agree to settle things for real with arm wrestling. During the match, as Kaido struggles to win, he sees Toda crying. The boy scolds him, questioning how someone with so much power could use it for evil. Kaido is surprised that Toda is using only his natural strength to match him. Powered by nothing but pure will and righteous anger, Toda unleashes a final burst of force, crushing Kaido's arm and destroying the building behind them in the process. Nagumo is impressed that Toda defeated Kaido without Me'araba. Even Karen is impressed by his sheer power. Kaido once again pleads with Toda to finish him, but the boy refuses. Just then, Nagumo opens a portal and leaves with the defeated Kaido and Chao. The residents of the slum gather to watch their homes go up in flames, but then Yukaheim appears and, with a single massive display of power, freezes the entire village, putting the fire out on the spot. She praises Kurumaru for his fireworks signal, which helped him track everyone down. She greets Nagumo, who seems surprised to see her, and Toda is shocked that she knows the blind mercenary boss. Later that night, the villagers host a big dinner, offering food to the ones who saved them. While they eat, Yukaheim explains to Toda that it makes sense he inherited Me'araba, as they share the same blood, as the slum kids call the UQ holders to eat with them. None of them are aware that from the shadows, a mysterious drone is spying on Toda, watching the scene unfold from a perch at the top of the tower. Later, Kurumaru is in a UQ holder base, tasked with returning Toda's sentient sword, Kurobo, safely to Toda's room. Seeking to understand the dark power his friend had manifested, Kurumaru asks the sword if it knows anything about Me'araba. However, Kurobo evades the question and instead turns the tables, pointing out that it has noticed Kurumaru's intense feelings for Toda. This hits Kurumaru with the force of a physical blow. Flustered and embarrassed, he immediately denies it and digs the sword into the ground, then runs away from the scene in utter embarrassment, leaving the sword behind. As he tries to collect his thoughts, Kurumaru's gaze falls upon Toda, who is down by the dock with a servant girl Shinobu. Toda is excitedly examining a motorboat that Yukaheim constructed herself from scrap parts. Impressed by her skill, he eagerly joins her for a ride. As they cruise across the water, Yukaheim confides in him about her dream to one day become a professional racer. Toda, with his characteristic earnestness, offers her his full support, encouraging her to pursue her passion. From a distance, Kurumaru watches the two of them laughing and talking with an easy familiarity. A painful pang of jealousy and confusion strikes him as he struggles to understand the strange aching feeling in his chest. Later, seeking solitude, Kurumaru soaks in one of the base's hot springs, his mind replaying the sword's words and the scene with Toda and Yukaheim. But his quiet reflection is shattered when Karen storms into the room to deliver an assignment, catching him completely exposed. It is in this unguarded moment that Karen finally sees the truth. Backed into a corner, Kurumaru is forced to explain his unique situation, revealing that he is neither male nor female. He belongs to the Fushigari clan, a race of semi-humans who are born without a defined gender and upon reaching a certain age in adolescence must choose which one they will be for the rest of their lives. However, Karen's reaction is not one of understanding but of aggression. She initiates a fight, her motives entirely selfish, believing Toda will slowly fall in love with Yukaheim. She demands Kurumaru keep Toda's attention away from his master. She overpowers Kurumaru, knocking his sword away and ordering him to comply. However, their confrontation is interrupted by the timely arrival of the android Amaya, who had been observing them. He assures them he will not reveal Kurumaru's secret and calmly states that he has a plan. Sometime later, Toda is busy with his chores, wondering where his friend has disappeared to. The answer arrives in the form of a beautiful, shy blonde girl he has never seen before. This is Amaya's plan in action. Kurumaru, now disguised as a girl and introducing himself as Kuru, Kurumaru's supposed cousin, completely fools the stupid Toda, who is unhappy that his friend kept a cute cousin's secret from him. After hesitating for a while, Kuru asks Toda to give her a tour of the capital. He thinks for a while but accepts, hoping to grab her breast secretly. They meet Shinobu on their way, who offers Toda her scrap motorboat for the day. As they take Shinobu's motorboat out, they pass a strange four-eyed little girl wandering the lower levels of the base, but Toda pays her no mind. In the capital, Toda and Kuru enjoy their weirdest, freaky, impromptu date. Kuramaru finds himself genuinely having fun, and he presses his fake melons against Toda's body to give him an erection. Eventually, the two reach the main town square where they walk around like a weird couple. A pivotal moment occurs when Kuru's sandals break. Without a hint of awkwardness, Toda kneels down to fix them for him. This simple, unexpected act of kindness sends a jolt through Kuramaru, and for the first time, he seriously considers that life as a girl by Toda's side might be what he truly wants. Still, Kuramaru points at the tower and tells Toda to take her there, but these clueless, hormone-filled creatures remain oblivious to the sinister figure of Chao, the perverted mercenary, watching them from the shadows. Meanwhile, back at the base, Yukaheim and Jinbei have a serious conversation. She expresses her deep concern over Toda's manifestation of magic, worrying that it will attract the wrong kind of attention. Jinbei does not seem to be that uptight, but Yukaheim confirms that Toda is being spied on with a drone by a powerful figure known as Fate. At the tower, Toda is bursting with excitement, having finally reached the landmark of his dreams. He tells Kuru how much his friendship with Kuramaru means to him, a statement that fills the disguised boy with a mix of happiness and sorrow. Toda's assurance that Kuru is cute only adds to his confusion. However, their stupid little Netflix moment is violently shattered when Chao springs his trap, opening a shadow portal that begins to drag Toda in. Kuramaru is immediately beaten to the ground since he can't use his power in a girl's body. Despite this, he instinctively draws his sword to attack the enemies, but he is immediately intercepted by a second mercenary, a six-armed man named Azura. Kuramaru quickly discovers that he cannot transform back into his male form, and he is easily overpowered and knocked off the building like a paraglider. As Kuramaru lies down hopelessly on the ground, he remembers how much he loves Toda. Somehow, with a surge of adrenaline, he launches another attack and throws Chao away like a freaking frisbee, and he also transforms back to his normal self, ready to protect at any cost. From a distance, Azura has been watching the entire scene unfold and even praises Kuramaru for his efforts. But before Kuramaru can prepare for an attack, police officers arrive at the scene. Just then, Toda wakes up, and the dumb idiot has no clue about Kuramaru's female form. Seeing his friend, he immediately asks what happened to Kuru. Kuramaru quickly lies, claiming he took his cousin to safety, and he then scolds Toda for his weakness. Internally, Kuramaru resigns himself to simply being Toda's friend, no matter which form he chooses. But Toda makes matters worse by saying he wants to sniff Kuramaru's cousin's body parts and rail her like a toy. Meanwhile, back at the UQ Holder headquarters, the little girl from earlier named Kiri is seen playing by herself. The android Amaya finds the little girl busy performing a sand ritual of some sort, and when he asks if there is a special occasion, Kiri looks up with an ominous glint in her eyes and replies that the special occasion is only just beginning. In the bustling UQ Holder headquarters, Karen takes Kuramaru aside, questioning him about the date with Toda. While Kuramaru hesitates, Karen asks why he hasn't continued the Kuru disguise as they had planned. As they talk, the tech-savvy Amaya introduces the shy and fearful-looking Kiri to Toda. The little girl, who seems intimidated by her own shadow, asks to have a private meeting with the dumb idiot. Once they reach a secluded corner, Kiri's entire demeanor shifts. She sheds her shyness, her expression hardening into one of cold authority. She orders Toda to sit, declaring herself his superior in UQ Holder and demanding his respect. As the boy gets confused, Kiri orders him to bark like a dog, and he hesitantly does. But when he rightfully questions her sudden dominatrix act, Kiri tries to kick him in the face. Even though he was getting a peek at her underwear, Toda grabs the girl by her hair. The girl claims that she has the right to kick him 5 times, as Toda has allegedly failed to save her on 5 separate occasions. Toda is utterly confused, insisting this is the first time they've ever spoken. But before Kiri can explain this bizarre accusation, a shadow darts along the wall. Chao, the crazy pervert from the slums, appears and slashes Kiri's throat with blinding speed. As Kiri collapses to the ground, bleeding out, she reaches for Toda, her last act being to grab his hand. The boy is scared senseless as he tells Kiri to open her eyes. Suddenly, Toda wakes up with a jolt, finding himself back at the base and wondering if it was all a dream. But then he sees Kiri alive and well, who immediately scolds him for his grand stupidity. Just then, Amaya and Karen appear, ready to take Kiri to the capital, and are confused to see Toda already back at the castle. The idiot almost spilled Kuru's secret, but she stepped hard on his foot to silence him. On the boat ride back to the capital, Karen and Amaya discuss the rumors surrounding Kiri's mysterious power. They speculate that her power is not magical, but somewhat prophetic. On the other hand, Toda has the same question, and Kiri hesitantly explains how her ability works. It is a power called Save and Reset. By performing a ritual with sand, she can create a save point, and whenever Kiri dies, time rewinds and she returns to that exact point. And if she is holding someone's hand at the moment of her death, she can bring their soul back with her. She tells the incompetent idiot that she has already died 5 times because he kept failing to take her hand. She informs Tota that he is critically important to the future, which is why she has gone to such extreme lengths to warn his wrinkly ass. Upon reaching the capital, they return to the exact same alley. Kiri again tries to explain the situation, but this time Tota is prepared. When Chao appears from the shadows to renew his attack, Tota reacts instantly. He intercepts the strike and, using Karabo, increases his sword's weight to a crushing level, and before Chao can even respond, Tota sends this goon flying into the horizon. With the immediate threat gone, Kiri finally tells Tota the full, terrifying story of the villain in their lives. The reason for the death loop is a man named Fate. In the original timeline, Kiri witnessed Fate effortlessly capture Tota and enslave him. She watched in horror as Fate made mincemeat of Amaya, slicing him in 2 with a kick and sent Karen to the moon with a single punch. After Kuramaru was splattered like a cockroach, Fate kicked Tota into a million pieces, and just as he turned to eliminate her, Kiri unalived herself, triggering the reset and beginning the loop once again to save all of her friends. Hearing this story, Tota is left stunned, wondering why this powerful man named Fate would be after him. However, their conversation is interrupted by Amaya and Karen, who have eavesdropped on the whole thing. Now understanding the true nature of Kiri's ability, Tota tries to reveal all the details of her powers, but the little girl stops him. Amaya explains to the incompetent idiot that such powers are kept secret for a reason, as in the wrong hands, Kiri could be used as a weapon, exterminated repeatedly to rewind time for someone else's benefit. Tota finally understands the situation and assures Kiri that he and his friends would never take advantage of her. While the little girl feels skeptical, Amaya, Karen, and Kuramaru all assure Kiri of her safety, which gives her a newfound sense of trust in her teammates, but she still punches Tota in his noggin as an act of love. With the truth out in the open, Kiri lays out her plan to capture Fate. Since she has already witnessed the event, she knows exactly how and when the enemy will arrive. Kiri explains that she has already prepared a new save point in the underground dungeon beneath Yukaheim's villa. The plan is a high-stakes trap where Tota will act as bait to draw Fate out from his hideout. Amaya will provide support with a powerful orbital satellite laser and attack the enemy, and Kiri and the others will engage Fate's allies and provide background support. In the ensuing chaos, Kiri and Kuramaru will rush in. Kiri's only goal is to touch Fate, and once she does, she will unalive herself, and her power will transport everyone, including their target, back to the safe point in the dungeon where Yukaheim will be waiting to spring the final trap. As everyone gets in their respective positions to defeat the stupid Kim Jong-un-looking enemy, Tota asks why Yukaheim isn't helping them directly in the capital. Kiri explains that Fate is powerful enough to sense Yukaheim's presence from miles away, and if she were anywhere nearby, he wouldn't show up. Feeling the weight of the mission, Tota decides to search for information on Fate himself. On his phone, he finds a video that Yukaheim uploaded for him, in which she explains that Fate was once a hero who fought alongside her and Tota's grandfather, Nagi Springfield, as a team that saved the world. But after Nagi died, Fate changed his personality, turning him into a bitter man who hated humanity and chocolate donuts. Yukaheim warns Tota that Fate is coming for him because of his connection to Nagi and sternly advises him to reject whatever offer Fate makes. Tota is slightly buzzed by this barrage of information, but he can't waste his time thinking. The team takes their positions in a crowded shopping mall, with Amaya in a remote location, his finger on the button for the satellite laser. The tension builds, Amaya gets a lock on the target, and Kiri gives the signal. Just as Tota gets a visual on Fate, his blood runs cold, as walking dangerously close behind the world's strongest mage are his old, foolish friends from his home village. The operation is in full swing, but Tota's mind is racing, trying to process how his grandfather's supposed friend could become a threat to all of humanity. On a satellite feed, Amaya tracks Fate's approach. The plan is about to reach its critical point, but all comes screeching to a halt when Tota's old friends from the village spot him in the crowd and run over towards him, completely oblivious to the danger they've just walked into. Seeing this sudden shift in plans, Amaya is forced to improvise their plan for a satellite strike. Seeing the civilians, he decides to hold his fire, but just as he's about to abort, one of Fate's allies, a robotic-looking waitress, ambushes him, slicing off the hand that was holding the satellite controller. Back in the mall, Tota is forced to play it cool, exchanging pleasantries with his friends while trying not to give away the life-or-death situation unfolding around them. Just then, Fate approaches. He calmly introduces himself as an old friend of Tota's grandfather, but his friendly demeanor is a thin veil over a chilling threat. He makes it clear that he knows everything about Tota, the color of his ding-dong, his new allies at UQ Holder, and even his friends from the village. While Tota tries to save his friends, Fate gives him an ultimatum: team up with him to destroy the Earth willingly, or he will wipe out everyone in the mall without a second thought. Kiri, watching from her hiding spot, is furious that their perfectly laid plan has gone to waste. But instead of backing down, Tota makes a bold move. He boldly rejects Fate's offer and decides to challenge the white-haired guy, whipping out his beloved sword. When Fate insults Yukaheim, Tota yells at the top of his lungs that there's a terrorist with a bomb in the mall, sending the civilians into a panic. In that split second of confusion, Karen attacks Fate from behind. While he gets flustered, Tota joins in, swinging Karabo with all his might. Fate blocks both of their strikes with a magical shield, but Toda, in a desperate gambit, increases the sword's weight to a staggering 500,000 times its normal amount and shatters the barrier. The moment the barrier breaks, the rest of the team springs into action. Amaya, having dealt with his attacker, regains control of the remote and fires the orbital laser straight at Fate. As the massive beam of energy slams down, Kuramaru rushes in, carrying Kiri on his back to complete the final phase of the plan. While Fate is struggling to absorb the laser's immense power, Kiri manages to grab onto him, but just as she turns to reach for the others to pull them into the reset, her body turns to stone. The plan has failed at the last possible second, invoking a sinister smile on Fate's face. With her key player down, the team considers retreating, but Toda refuses to back down, as he sees that Fate took heavy damage from the laser and has lost some of his power. This is their only shot. As more of Fate's mercenaries show up to engage the rest of the team, Toda gives everything he has against the Master Mage, but his enemy is on a completely different level. Each of them is confronted by a strange-looking opponent, and they get ready to fight till their last breath. Meanwhile, Fate handles all of Toda's physical attacks like they are pieces of candy, proving himself to be a perfect master of both magic and martial arts. His retaliation is also on another level, which he launches without shedding a sweat. Suddenly, Karen contacts Toda. She tells him the strange countdown has appeared on Kiri's petrified arm, and they both agree to trust the little girl and stall the attacks for some time. Toda tries his best to keep Fate busy, taunting him and dodging his blows while the timer on Kiri's arm runs down. Just before the countdown ends, Toda increases Karabo's weight again, slamming Fate to the ground and pinning him. As soon as the timer hits 0, Toda grabs Kiri's hand, and the petrification on her body shatters. The rest of the team quickly gathers around her, making contact. With Fate still pinned, Kiri activates her ability, killing herself and sending the entire group, including their enemy, back in time to the safe point in the underground dungeon. Once there, Fate comes face to face with Yukaheim after 20 long years. Just seeing her puts him on edge, and he prepares to fight, but deep down, he knows the fight is over. Fate admits defeat and, in exchange for being released, agrees to answer one question from each of them. Amaya is not interested in their family squabbles, and he asks Fate about his plans for Toda. Without hesitation, Fate reveals his true goal. He wants to use Toda's power to save Nagi Springfield, which he claims would in turn save the 12 million people of the solar system. Karen, in a moment of pure jealousy, asks who Nagi loved more, her or Yukaheim. However, before Fate can answer this ridiculous question, Yukaheim threatens him with her ice powers, and he quickly avoids the topic. Kuramaru then steps forward and asks how urgent his need for Toda is. Fate answers that it is not urgent, meaning Toda does not have to follow him immediately. Finally, it is Toda's turn. He praises Fate for not being as bad as they had made him out to be, but then he asks the one question that has been haunting him. Are you responsible for my parents' deaths? Everyone in the dungeon is stunned. Fate looks him dead in the eye and says, yes. Hearing this, Toda's aura explodes and Magia Arabia begins to surface. He pledges to beat Fate down, but right then, the magic seal barrier on his body activates. A ghostly vision of Nagi Springfield appears in the room. Toda recognizes him as the man from his vision at the cemetery. The hologram of Nagi tells Toda not to believe what Fate just said, explaining that his actions, as twisted as they seem, were meant to protect him. As this is happening, Yukaheim telepathically orders Kuramaru to find and destroy the device on Toda's body that is projecting the image. Just as Nagi is about to reveal the full truth, Kuramaru finds the spell on Toda's shoulder and slices it, causing the hologram to vanish into thin air, leaving Toda with more questions than answers. The next day, Kiri, Karen, and Kuramaru are chilling out, but Kiri is in a foul mood. She is fuming that after all the effort she put in dying 6 times, Yukaheim just let Fate walk away. And she is also annoyed that she did not even get to see the celebrated grandfather of the incompetent and dumb idiot Toda. Hearing this, Karen teases her, suggesting that she is really just upset because she is in love with Toda. Kiri protests wildly, but it is clear Karen has hit a nerve. Meanwhile, the idiot in question is trailing Yukaheim, pestering her with questions about Nagi Springfield. He is still reeling from the revelation that his grandfather is somehow still alive, but Yukaheim is in no mood to talk. She completely ignores him, and upon reaching her office, she rushes in and shuts the door right in his face. His frustration is interrupted by the arrival of some new faces at the UQ Holder Villa. Meanwhile, Toda is frustrated and spars alone to blow off some steam using his Karabo. He is dressed up for some reason, and he does not realize that Shinobu, the cleaning lady, is taking out the trash, and he accidentally slashes the trash bag with his sword. He confesses that he was frustrated, and the kind Shinobu forgives him instantly. They end up taking a tea break together, chatting and laughing. From a distance, Kiri and Kuramaru spy on them, and it is obvious they are jealous of how close Shinobu is getting to Toda. However, their spying is interrupted by a crazy display of acrobatics that would feel right at home. It is Mizore, the strange girl who had just arrived. She lands right in front of them, tells Shinobu to stay away from Toda, and then confronts the boy himself. Mizore explains that Toda is from a family of womanizers. His great-grandfather, Nagi Springfield, had a harem, and his grandfather took after his father. She claims that Nagi made her grandmother cry, so she has come to defeat Toda to exact revenge for her mother. She rushes forward and attacks him, but Toda easily blocks her attacks and launches her into the air. He then jumps after her and saves her, which makes her blush instantly. Mazor commends him for meeting her standards and then, in a completely logical leap, decides to marry him to spare other women the pain he will inevitably cause. The idiot Toda politely rejects her offer. On the other hand, her great-grandmother Ayaka is having a meeting with Yukaheim. They reminisce about their time spent as students of Nagi Springfield, laughing at the memories of how all the girls in their class were in love with him. Back in the present, Mazor has decided the best way to win Toda's heart is through his stomach. She becomes a servant to bring him food, and Kiri, Kurumaru, and Karen can only watch in dismay as she puts so much effort into her new romantic quest. Toda enjoys the meal Mazor brings him, and when he sees the bandages on her hands, he realizes she cooked it herself. Karen teases Kiri again for being in love with Toda, but then gives her and Kurumaru a harsh lesson on the realities of their situation, telling them to give up. Toda is a pervert at heart and will always choose a girl over an immortal one. Just then, Amaya appears and tells them he has the solution to their romantic problems. He explains a local legend, a hot spring spell where you can make someone fall for you by washing their back 50 times. They doubt him, but Amaya piques their interest when he threatens to share the information with Mazor and Yukiheim. Later that evening, Amaya and Toda are having a soak in the hot springs. Amaya is clearly stalling for time, and to do so, he tells Toda his life story. He had an accident as a child and has been in a coma for over 70 years, and his consciousness was moved into the android body he now inhabits. While he is telling his story, the hormone-filled girls are all preparing to make their move. Karen is the first to arrive. She bullies Toda and forces him to turn his back while she uses a hard brush to scrub him. But before she can get very far, Kiri jumps in and kicks her away, and the two begin to argue. They look up to see that Yukaheim has snuck in and started scrubbing Toda's back, but Mazor does not let her complete it. A full-on war breaks out as the girls all compete to be the one to scrub his back. Seeing his friend in distress, Kurumaru appears and saves him from the hot-blooded young ladies. But his rescue is short-lived as Kiri and Mazor jump into their midst and Toda is sent flying into the pool. While the lover girls battle one another, Yukaheim joins Toda in the pool. She asks about the excitement, and after he explains, she begins to gently scrub his back herself. As she does, she finally apologizes for her cold behavior earlier, admitting she has just been having a rough time. The girls all look on in defeat as they realize Yukaheim has effortlessly won the battle for his back. Later, Toda goes to meet Yukaheim at the docks for a real conversation. She appears in her true younger form, which upsets him a bit. He asks her if she is in love with Nagi Springfield, and she confesses that she is. She then tells him the full complicated truth. The Nagi he saw in the cave earlier was not really his grandfather. 20 years ago, Nagi defeated a powerful dark wizard named the Mage of the Beginning, won the battle, and saved the world, but in the process, Nagi was possessed by the wizard. She and Fate have both been trying to save him ever since, but their different methods have put them at odds. Toda then brings up his parents, reminding Yukaheim that Fate had confessed to eliminating them. She looks at him with a sad expression and tells him that what Fate said was not true. His parents did not die in that accident 2 years ago. Because he never had any parents in the first place, Toda was not born. It turns out that he was created in a lab using the genetic data of Nagi Springfield. Toda is not just connected to his grandfather, he is a clone of Nagi Springfield. In the quiet aftermath of a world-shattering revelation, Toda sits in his room feeling depressed. The news that he is not a person but a genetic experiment, a clone of Nagi Springfield, is weighing on him. He confides in Kurumaru about this existential dread, and while he simply stands there, Toda explains how Yukaheim's love has always been for his grandfather, and the only reason she loved Toda was not because of affection but due to a sense of duty to the man she lost. The very foundation of his life, his connection to the person who raised him, now feels false. Kurumaru does his best to lift his friend's spirits, but the poor guy is clearly still trying to process it all. However, their somber conversation is abruptly shattered when Mazor bursts into the room with Kiri behind her. She declares that the perfect way to shake off an identity crisis is to go to the Mahora martial arts tournament. Before Toda can protest, he finds himself out of his funk and heading towards the city. Meanwhile, in another part of the base, Yukaheim has a quiet conversation with Ayaka, Mazor's great-grandmother. She confesses that she told Toda the truth about his origins. Soon after, the group is strolling through the crowded city streets, checking out the fighters and soaking in the chaotic energy of the tournament. The vibrant atmosphere begins to work its magic, and Toda, hyped up, heads off to figure out how to register. Seeing this, Kiri and Kurumaru get jealous as Toda is getting extremely comfortable with this Mazor girl. Unfortunately, Toda is met with disappointments. All the tournament slots are already taken. He tries not to let it ruin his mood, promising to try again next year. Just then, the old lady Ayaka shows up out of nowhere, accompanied by 2 more of Nagi's former students, Mana, who happens to be the director of the tournament, and Shichamaru, a stoic android. With zero warning, Ayaka snatches Toda away, saying they have something important to discuss, leaving a protesting Mazor behind. Now, the women take him to a place steeped in history, the old classroom where Nagi used to teach when he was only 10 years old. They share memories of his first day, how shy he was yet how he instantly captured the hearts of every girl in the class. There, Tota meets another of his grandfather's former students, a pale white girl named Seo, who reveals herself to be a ghost. They all gather around him while their expressions are a mixture of nostalgia and affection. They tell Tota that his status as a clone is meaningless to them. What matters is that he carries Nagi's legacy. They assure him that if Nagi were here, he would treat Tota as family. In fact, they already see him as one. The weight of their acceptance is overwhelming, and as Aika, getting up from her wheelchair, gives him a warm hug, Tota realizes he has a family he never knew. Right then, Mana gets a call from the tournament staff. A fighter has been seriously injured and had to drop out, and they need a last-minute replacement. A few hours later, Tota walks out onto the battlefield to the loud cheers of the crowd while his friends scream their support from the stands. Across from him stands a cloaked opponent named Cutlass who looks formidable. The bell rings and the match starts fast. Tota charges in, trading rapid blows only to realize this opponent is a lot stronger than expected. From the sidelines, Sayo and Kuramaru start to worry. They can sense that Cutlass is radiating a dangerous bloodlust far beyond what is normal for a competition. Meanwhile, Mana goes to check on the injured fighter who dropped out and learns the disturbing truth. Cutlass is the one who took him out just to steal his spot. On the battlefield, Tota is struggling to land a clean hit. Cutlass outclasses him in every way, using a combination of brutal strength and powerful elemental magic. Then the fight gets personal. Cutlass taunts him, calling him a Discord moderator right before slashing him clean in half. Kiri and Kuramaru scream his name as Mazor watches in horror, but Tota does not stay down. He gets up, seething with rage as his dark aura, the power of Mearaba, takes over. He charges in again, but Cutlass counters like it is nothing. Now Cutlass rains magical swords from above, pinning Tota to the ground with enchanted blades that nullify his magic. While he is stuck, Cutlass keeps taunting him, calling him worthless and telling him he will never measure up to the real Nagi. But just as his spirit is about to break, he hears his friends shouting from the stands. Their voices give him the strength to push through. He breaks free and lands a solid punch right to his face. The impact knocks his hood off, revealing that his mysterious, powerful opponent is actually a pretty little chick. Cutlass shrugs it off and says she would love to finish him, but they are out of time. Suddenly, Nagi Springfield himself descends from the sky. He steps in and says he is here to take Tota with him. The ladies who knew him are excited to see him, but Mana and the others instantly panic. They know this is not really Nagi. It is the Life Maker pulling the strings. Nagi tries to convince Tota that they need him to save the world, but this sounds extremely suspicious to him. Before things can escalate, Yukaheim makes her grand entrance. She shatters the barriers separating the battlefield from the crowd and steps in. She exposes the truth. This is not Nagi at all, just the Life Maker in disguise. But before she can do anything else, two of her former classmates, now allied with the enemy, appear and trap her with their magic. Moments later, a massive muscular man who looks like he escaped from a JoJo's Bizarre Adventure anime drops from the sky and charges straight at Tota. But before the blow can land, Karen and Kuramaru jump in to block the hit, and Kiri appears with his sword just in time. As the pressure builds, Yukaheim breaks free from the magical restraint, and with that, Tota and his crew regroup, ready to face off in an all-out fight against the Life Maker and his loyal followers. The battlefield is set, and the air in the tournament arena is filled with tension. Yukaheim warns her allies that this is no ordinary fight. Their opponents are legends. There is you, the all-knowing magical detective, Nodoka, the all-seeing mind reader, and Jack Rockin, the mercenary swordsman considered the greatest in the world. And leading them is the being wearing Nagi Springfield's face, a man whose power is so immense that a simple sneeze from him rips the clothes off every single person in the stadium. This bizarre display leaves Tota stunned by the sight of all the ladies in his life suddenly naked. Meanwhile, the servant girl Shinobu finally arrives to watch the battle. But her face is filled with worry as she notices a huge dark storm developing in the sky. Back on the field, Kiri attempts to de-escalate the situation. She tells their enemies that instead of engaging in a battle, they should simply try to convince Tota to join their side peacefully. Kiri was trying to buy time so they could figure out their opponent's weaknesses. Unfortunately for her, Nodoka, with her mind-reading ability, instantly exposes Kiri's true intentions to everyone. With diplomacy having failed, Nodoka drops another bombshell, revealing that Tota is the only successful clone created from the combined genetic material of both Nagi and Asuna. The enemy calmly asks him to come with them, but Tota tells them to get lost. Suddenly, a mysterious disembodied voice rings out, declaring that Tota will be taken away. A dark portal rips open in the fabric of reality and drags him through, pulling him into another world. When he wakes up, Tota is glowing like a spirit and finds himself in a strange ethereal realm. In the distance, he sees Yukaheim, injured and collapsed on the ground. He runs to grab her, but stumbles before he can reach her. the scenery shifts around him, and he finds himself in front of the castle perched on the edge of a cliff. A man with a permanent, unnerving smile is beside him. Kurobo instantly warns him not to trust this man, pointing out that his name is Albaro, the powerful mage who created the sword, and that he is a demon far worse than Yukaheim herself. Albaro claims his only goal is to persuade Toda to join Nagi's group. To do that, he decides to show him a glimpse of the past. In this vision, Toda sees Yukaheim centuries ago falling from that very same castle. She is saved by a handsome, red-haired man, Nagi Springfield's father. Toda watches as Yukaheim falls hopelessly in love with her savior, following him everywhere, refusing to leave his side. The memory then shifts and Albaro takes him to another timeline 15 years later, when a 10-year-old Nagi became a teacher at the academy. Toda sees Yukaheim, who is happy to meet Nagi's son, and she quickly takes the young boy under her wing. He watches as Yukaheim becomes his master, sometimes treating him playfully, only for Asuna to step in and save him. Toda sees their bond grow, and eventually watches as the two of them become close. The memory of a happy Yukaheim fills Toda with joy, and he thanks Albaro for showing him. That is when the mage casually admits that everything he just showed him was a lie. As Toda tries to process this, the dreamlike version of Yukaheim notices him and walks toward him. But before she can say a word, a woman wrapped in a dark aura appears behind her and traps her in shadows. This woman is the epitome of evil, the mage of the beginning, also known as the Lifemaker. Taking advantage of the moment, Albaro launches a sneak attack, slamming multiple spears into Toda's back while he is distracted. Albaro then uses a gravity spell to pin Toda to the ground, while the Lifemaker, without hesitation, splits the trapped Yukaheim in half. Even when wounded, Toda refuses to give up. He drags himself across the ground to reach her. The Lifemaker tells him there is only one way to save her. Go with her and accept his destiny. Toda finally reaches Yukaheim and lifts her into his arms. With tears in her eyes, she tells him that all she ever wanted was someone who would walk with her under the blue sky forever, a heartbreaking reminder of her lonely, immortal life. Toda promises that he will always be there for her, and dodging the Lifemaker's next attack, carries her to a safer place. Once they stop, she explains that they are inside a world created by the Lifemaker's imagination. In this place, the Lifemaker can bend reality however she wants. Even so, Yukaheim has one trick left. She summons a flurry of magical seals and forms a barrier around them, and the two launch a direct attack. However, the Lifemaker constantly changes shape, switching between her own form and the appearances of Nagi to throw Yukaheim off. This mental warfare forces her to drop her guard. At the same time, the Lifemaker unleashes a powerful ability that takes Toda out of the fight in seconds. He is hit hard and suddenly finds himself in a hallucination, surrounded by a group of girls who try to drag him down into a red ocean and drown him. As he is sinking, a new girl appears and shatters the illusion. Her name is Asuna, and she introduces herself as his grandmother. She explains that while the Lifemaker was messing with his mind, she managed to slip in. She happily waves to Yukaheim, who has also broken free from the illusion along with the rest of the team. Asuna explains that even though it felt like they were trapped for a long time, less than a second has passed in the real world. She turns to Toda and tells him that deep inside him lies the power to defeat the Lifemaker, but to unlock it, he has to survive a full 37 seconds against her in battle. With a clear goal in mind, Toda and the rest of the team return to reality. Immediately, everyone splits up and launches a coordinated attack on their enemies. With the intel Asuna provided, they easily wipe out the weaker opponents. At the same time, Toda ignores everyone else and charges straight at the Lifemaker, his eyes locked on her as the final battle begins. With the words of his grandmother echoing in his mind, Toda is determined to fight for 37 seconds at any cost. He charges straight at the Lifemaker and tries to reach his grandfather through the hallucination, but his words are swallowed by the overwhelming dark power surging from Nagi's body. Just as things start to look hopeless, two swords crash into the chaos to save the day. Yukaheim and Fate have arrived, jumping in to back Toda up. Fate wastes no time and casts a powerful, complex spell. The world around them dissolves, and the spirits of all four Toda, Yukaheim, Fate, and the possessed Nagi are pulled into a serene spiritual plane where they come face to face with Nagi's true self, appearing as his child self. During this surreal encounter, Fate lays out his full desperate plan to stop the Lifemaker and save the world. He explains his goal to use Toda's unique power not only to free Nagi, but to grant the gift of immortality to everyone in the solar system, ending suffering forever. The true Nagi listens with a deep sadness in his eyes and admits that the audacious plan might actually work. But he also reveals the terrible cost for it to succeed. His own soul, now deeply linked with the Lifemakers, would have to be destroyed. Taking advantage of the precious little time they have, Yukaheim wraps her arms around the young Nagi, clinging to the version of him that she still loved. Nagi then offers a few final words of support to Toda, and just like that, they're all violently pulled back to Earth. The battle resumes with a vengeance. The Lifemaker, enraged by their defiance, enters a new, terrifying transformation. Fate and Yukaheim launch a joint attack, combining their most powerful sealing spells, but she easily overpowers both of them. taking them down without breaking a sweat. Toda is not spared either. When she targets him, he gets knocked back hard, but instead of staying down, he unlocks a transformation of his own. His body starts glowing with a powerful white light that matches her dark aura. Now the two of them shoot into the sky, taking their cataclysmic fight to the upper atmosphere, while their allies continue to struggle against the mercenaries down below. In the air, Toda is getting wrecked. The Lifemaker's raw power and centuries of experience completely overwhelm him. Down on the ground, his team is getting stomped by her followers. Jack Rockin pummels Karen, and Nodoka easily breaks Karamaru's binding spells. At one point, Toda catches a glimpse of the destruction their battle has left behind in the city below. Fueled by a mixture of guilt and anger, he launches himself at the Lifemaker and lands a brutal combo of hits, finally flipping the fight in his favor. But just when it looks like he is taking control, Jack Rockin appears and stabs him clean through with a massive sword. Immediately, Toda crashes to the ground, bleeding out like a headless chicken. As the Lifemaker moves in to finish the job, Kiri throws herself in front of him, hoping to stop the bloodshed. The Lifemaker pauses, clearly aware of Kiri's dangerous reset ability. Right then, Cutlass appears out of nowhere and stabs Kiri in the back like a total menace. She forces Kiri's mouth open and yanks out a hidden self-termination pill she had tucked away in a tooth. Seeing this sends Toda into a full rage, and he starts breaking out of the restraints holding him down. But Kiri, barely holding on, tells him to calm his balls down. She explains that everything is going according to her plan and that all she needed to do was buy time. Right on cue, a giant magical seal appears under everyone's feet. A trap set by Nagi's former students has been sprung. Immediately, the group is transported to a completely different location where all of Nagi's old students are waiting. They have combined their strength to finally take him down. The hormone-induced girls throw everything they got at him in a perfectly coordinated offensive, elemental attacks, unique techniques, and non-stop teamwork. And even though brute force alone is not enough, they manage to help the real Nagi inside regain control of his body for a precious moment. At that instant, Asuna arrives and completely shatters the illusion, bringing everyone back to Earth. She approaches Nagi, and he immediately recognizes her, proving that part of him is still in there. Unfortunately, this fairy tale does not last for long. The Lifemaker quickly takes over again and announces that she wants to retreat. She admits defeat for now, but before leaving, she tells Toda to meet her at the top of the Great Tower. With that, she and her followers disappear in a beam of light. As Jinbei and the other UQ Holder agents help rescue civilians from the destruction, the immediate crisis is over. Later, back at the hidden base, Toda confesses his feelings to Yukaheim and straight up asks her to marry him. However, Yukaheim turns him down, claiming that she does not need someone to protect her. The other girls who had been eavesdropping witness this bold proposal and its humiliating rejection. They immediately gang up on Toda, beating him down for having the nerve to ask something so outrageous. Despite the rejection, Yukaheim is secretly flattered by the proposal, making it clear that she wants a piece of that Toda meat as well.